Welcome to the Spiritual Download. It's summertime, which is nice because we're out here in nature, out here in the woods in northern Wisconsin. I'm on kind of a 10-day vacation. I have the entire summer to dive deep into spirituality, dive deep into nature, dive deep into myself, figure out more about who I am, what life is, and how it all works. My goal is to share some of my insights throughout the summer, try to record 2 or 3 videos a week, unless I'm way out in the boonies like I'll be in a few days, out in the northern peninsula of Michigan, where there's not a lot of internet and everything like that. So, good thing we're out here in nature because this is what you are. So you are soil. My realization for that you are soil is because about a week and a half ago, my grandpa passed away, and his funeral was a few days ago, and I helped bury him back into the soil, and I realized, looking down into his grave, with all of the soil, the bugs, the trees, the grass, and also where it was just so peaceful, where we laid him in his casket. His casket was made of fresh wood. You could smell the freshness from the wood as I was carrying the casket to the burial area. And he was just so vulnerable, his body being laid back into the soil, 6 feet under, as they say, and literally 6 feet in the soil. So I want you to imagine right now, underneath your feet, if you go outside and you imagine 6 feet underneath your feet, or even better, I suggest that you lie down on the grass and imagine yourself 6 feet underneath the soil, and try to reduce the rate of your breath and try to slow down your mind and see that you came from the soil and you will return to the soil. And that even as you are alive, you are the soil, because where does your food come from? Where does the incredible and wonderful nutrients from your food that gives you energy to be a human, where does that come from? But the soil. And all of the energy in the soil eventually also comes from the sun. So really, if you think about it, we are the soil, we are the sun, we are plants, we are animals, and all of this energy we just share with one another through eating, through also just love. So it's not just the physical energy, it's also the love that we all share as plants, animals, bugs, even the nitrogen from lightning. So lightning provides nitrogen for the plants to grow in the springtime. That's it's all just connected. That's one of the reasons why there's so much lightning in like April and May. So kind of going back to imagining yourself lying on the grass, completely still, your breath slows down, your thoughts slow down. I'm starting to read a book by Ramana Maharshi, and he did this. He had such a fear of death in his uncle's house. He laid on the floor and he observed himself what it would be like to die. And so he lied there and was preparing to die to see what happens. His question was, who is it or what is it that dies? And he saw that he, with a capital H, the self with a capital S, does not die. So as you imagine yourself being buried, say that this is, maybe you meditate for an hour, this is your final hour. You as a human being are going to die in the next hour as you lie there in the grass, imagine yourself being 6 feet under, and this is the last meditation that you'll ever have. And you're lying there and you realize that you, inside of the soil, your body is going to die. However, there is this essence, there is this infinity of consciousness or awareness or just existence that will continue beyond your burial, the burial of your body, as your body disintegrates into soil and energy that will be brought to the next living being, right? So the energy of your body, the reason why I just want my body just to be thrown in the soil after I die is because the energy of my body is not mine. The energy of my body is everybody's or everything's. And I want my energy to be presented or gifted to the next animal, the next plant, the next person. I want to give myself to the entire universe. Not only my body, I really want to give my awareness. I want to give my heart to the universe. I really saw this when I had a really deep experience on a psychedelic, and I realized I'm not ready yet because I'm not close to death, but I want to give myself to the universe, which is basically the death of Kyle, the death of me. I have this deep desire my main desire is to know truth. Know with a capital K. I want to know the truth of everything. I want to know it. And I know that in order to do that, I have to give myself up, meaning I have to give Kyle up. I have to give my desires up, which is a huge paradox. Do you see this paradox? Because I desire to know, however, it's the desiring itself that is in the way of me knowing that truth. That is the biggest the biggest mystery of why do I have this desire to know truth, but it's holding me back from knowing the truth, the desire itself. So there's something that's in the way. So I really want to, this summer, I want to figure out what is that is in the way between the universe itself and who I identify with. Meaning, right now I mostly identify with the body and mind, the thoughts of this thing we call Kyle, and the thing that I call me, or I, right? And as I read this book, the collection of teachings of Ramana Maharshi, he talks about going in and figuring out where is the source of your ego. Where is the source of your thought process? Throughout your day, you might have, it might be 100, it might be 1,000 thoughts that you have throughout your day. And the goal this summer is for us to try to encounter that source of where thoughts are coming from. Where is this sense of I, this sense of me? Where is that emanating from? And I want to live not from that. I don't want to live from that source. I want to live from beyond that source. And I don't really know what the difference is between that source and if there is something beyond that source. That's what I'm going to try to figure out. And not just mentally, not philosophically. I'm kind of tired of having all these really deep philosophical beliefs, but not embodying them. I really want to live from the things that I can describe philosophically to the audience. Right here, I have a wood tick on my leg, trying to return to soil. Right? Can you imagine just if you were out in nature, just sitting. How long would it take for you to return to the soil? Of you just sitting and eventually ignoring the food that you would need, the water that you would need to drink, and you just meditated until you died, and then you became the soil. That would be pretty unreal. But the thing is, none of us are ready to do that. Like right now, I'm just surrounded by trees. I'm by myself. I went across the bridge from my parents' cabin here, across the lake. I'll probably show you guys what the lake looks like and things like this. I'll kind of turn around. So I'm out here by the lake. There's the shore. So I kind of imagine myself if I was literally just sitting here until I ended or me ended, what that would be like experientially, right? You would first, your thoughts would enter into your mind and say, we can't do this. You got to go back. You have to worry about your ego, right? You would have thoughts like, when's dinner time, or my parents, they must be worried about where I am, right? You would think about, if I just sat here, I could be reading something, you know, I could be learning something, I could be exercising, I could be stretching, I could be doing something useful, really. And we have this really deep bias for constantly doing quote unquote useful things. Because anything that is useful from your perspective is giving into your ego's agenda. So think about something that would be completely useless, right? Something that would be useless is like what I'm talking about, this meditation, where you're lying in the grass, imagining yourself 6 feet under for an hour. And you just went to a park or into the forest and you just did that, right? You would have bugs crawling all over you. You'd want to, maybe you're sitting in the sun, you're worried about getting sunburnt or something, right? These are the thoughts that enter your mind. You want to swipe those bugs off your skin. Maybe you start to get really, really cold or really, really hot. And that feeling is literally the separation between you and knowing the universe. It is you worrying about your little body that you ultimately are not. Right? I learned a lot of this from Fred Davis. I watch a lot of his videos, and he says, you are not the body. Repeat, you are not that body. We believe that's what we are, but really this body is just shared energy from the soil, right? It's better to think that just we are the soil, or we are the consciousness that is kind of like this lake over here. I want to make another video about what consciousness is, but really, if you imagine yourself as a lake of consciousness that is everywhere, and that sometimes it's windy, or there's lots of waves, so we might have a really rambunctious kind of day where it's really wavy and everything. But sometimes at night it's really, really still, maybe when you're meditating or praying or just existing. And that's when you realize really that you are the entire lake and not just this particular wave that is struggling against the wind. Because that's how it feels like as a person, is that that's where the suffering comes from, is believing that we are struggling against the wind that is constantly trying to we're trying to find this balance in our bodies of like, I'm too hot, so I need to cool down. Oh, now I'm too cold, so now I got to heat up. I'm too full, I got to digest. But then I digest, and now I'm hungry again. So what your body is needing is this constant rebalancing act. And your thoughts are there to convince you that you need all of these useful things. Right? So it's all connected. The energy you need to eat, the temperature your body is, the thoughts that enter your mind so that your body can be maintained until you die, right? You want to stay alive until you die. The fear that you have in your heart of when you imagine that you're dying, this visceral feeling of, I'm going to die, I'm going to die someday. And that's the thing that you really need to figure out. And if you take a psychedelic drug, that'll really, really bring your awareness into what it is that's going to die when you die. And that there's this difference between this me-ness, me, and what I have always been, which is, consciousness or awareness or God. So I think this was a good first video of the summer. If you have any questions, you can comment below. If you like the video, click the like button. Sorry about the low technology, but I'm out here in the boonies. I'll try to give out a few videos throughout the summer. Maybe a little bit more low tech, which is both good and bad. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace.